I, 42 female, got married really young, at 18, to my now ex-husband, Bill, 44 male. We dated through high school, but had been friends since we were little kids, so we have literally known each other our entire lives, which means we still have a bond. This will be relevant to this issue. We have 4 kids: Lily, 22 female, Robert, 20 male, Samantha, 17 female, and Tommy, 15 male. Our oldest, Lily, is both graduating from college next weekend and getting married in July. Her school is a bit of a distance for us, and she was allotted 4 tickets and got an extra from a friend. Both my ex and I are remarried, and our spouses will be joining us so we can celebrate after the actual ceremony. My husband, Eric, 45 male, is fine with this, but Billy's wife, Sarah, 36 female, is not thrilled. Sarah reached out to Lily and me in a group text a few weeks ago and asked if there was a way she could attend the ceremony since she is so proud of her bonus daughter, and because she and Bill helped pay for school. Lily was firm she wanted her parents and siblings. I did not say anything in the text exchange. Fast forward to this past week, and we received an additional text from her, but this time about the wedding. She is not attending the wedding as it is a destination wedding and only reachable by plane. At that point, she will be more than 7 months pregnant and has been advised not to fly. She asked Lily and me to convince Bill not to attend the wedding because she might need him if she has an emergency. She thinks if it comes from us, he might be more willing to not attend. Lily privately texted me and said she really can't deal with Sarah right now and is too stressed to fight with her, but is clear she wants her father at her wedding and asked me to reach out to Sarah. I decided to call Sarah instead of texting so nothing gets misconstrued. She immediately started making her case about how she is a little older and her pregnancy and delivery might be complicated, and she was scared she might go into labor when he wasn't home. I told her Lily and I sympathize with her, but it was up to Bill and it seems he made his choice. She then unloaded what I suspect was years of hostility on me about how I have a hold on Bill and he listens to me, and it's unfair and I'm an a-hole for not just going away. I tried to explain that she was aware that we had 4 kids together when they met and that what she was asking me to do was unreasonable. She brought up the graduation and said she feels like an afterthought in all of this and it's not fair. At this point, I was really annoyed and told her she was sort of an afterthought because both the graduation and the wedding are about Lily, and given that we have 3 more kids, she can expect to feel this way for every graduation, wedding, special event our kids have. I really do not want to stress my daughter with this, but I am wondering if I went too far or if I should try to explain Sarah's point of view to both Lily and Bill. No, not the a-hole. Her husband is not going to miss his daughter's wedding, which makes him a good man. Her stepdaughter obviously is going to want her actual family at her graduation. It is unlikely she will have complications the actual day of the wedding, unless she does something to make a scene. She needs to grow the hell up. Not the a-hole. Going forward, just forward texts to Bill and ask him to deal with it. You and Lily should not have to deal with Sarah, and it's so inappropriate that she's appealing to you and Lily instead of talking to Bill. Just screenshot the messages, send to Bill, and don't respond to Lily. And no more phone calls. You want written proof of what is said. Not the a-hole. I'm a stepmother and I have raised my kids since she was 9. There's no way in hell I would try to keep my husband from her wedding, whether I was able to attend or not. As for graduation, I get that she was disappointed, but damn, does anyone want to sit through a graduation in the heat while pregnant? She's pretty immature. I have 2 kids from a previous relationship. I'm engaged to my partner. After postponing our planned wedding, I had a fight with my family, and our guest list shrunk to almost nothing. So we decided to just get married without the wedding. We have to be married by February anyway, and we're planning something small in January. But with the guest list issue, we decided courthouse was the way to go. We tried to book in with the registrar, but with the holidays coming up and everything going on, our options were either the 27th of December or March 2021, so we booked the 27th. According to the custody agreement, I meant to have the kids from the 22nd to the 28th December, with custody switching back on the 28th. However, I don't celebrate Christmas. I'm Jewish, so my ex and I agreed to swap weeks, so he got the 22nd through the 28th. However, I've told my ex that my partner and I had to book in with the registrar on the 27th and asked if we could switch custody on the 27th instead of the 28th so the kids can attend my wedding. He's refused, said that it's not his fault that I booked for his week with the kids and that I should have taken that into consideration when I booked the registrar. He also says that he has family coming for Christmas, so he wants the kids with him for as much time as possible, as his extended family rarely see the kids, once a year at most, and are all leaving on the 28th and 29th. I asked him to reconsider and offered solutions, like suggesting that he just let me have them for a couple hours on the 27th. Then I'll bring them back to him and pick them up on the 28th as usual. He's refused, saying that it's not his problem, and I should have scheduled my wedding on my time. At this point, my fiancé pointed out that the wedding is on my time, according to our formal custody agreement, as I'd only ever agreed informally to switch the weeks. So I'd be well within my rights to say that I wanted to go back to the original schedule, meaning I would have the kids 22nd to the 28th. I've messaged my ex saying that I don't want to switch weeks after all. I'll have the kids for the 22nd through to the 28th, and he can have them for New Year, as set out in our formal custody agreement. Ex is furious, says I can't do this to him. We made a deal. He has family coming based on our agreement, and I have to switch back. I've said that I don't have to do anything, according to our formal agreement, and he shouldn't have been a jerk about it. He's now said that if I give him back that week, he'll let the kids go to my wedding, but I've said I want to stick to the formal agreement from now on, as I no longer trust he will allow the kids to go. He called me a few names and hung up. Fiancé says that now that my ex has agreed to let them come if we switch back, he doesn't see the harm in letting my ex have Christmas back, as we won't be doing anything special, and the kids would like to see ex's family. Am I the a-hole for not switching? Edit. If I had the kids over Christmas, they would still have Christmas. We wouldn't just let the 24th and 25th pass by without any celebration. It would definitely be more muted than it would with my ex, because I would have already given them gifts at Hanukkah, but I'd still do something. I wouldn't stop my kids celebrating Christmas altogether. The only people you're hurting are your children, both of your children. They're not pawns to use when you're angry, and you guys still have a lot of years to go until they're 18. You're the a-hole. I don't want to judge this, but you should really consider your children in all of this. At some point, the pettiness needs to stop if you guys want to successfully co-parent. I understand not trusting him to honor the agreement, so you should put down the change in writing and have both parties sign. It may not have the force of law, but it could deter him from reneging on the deal if you let him know that if he backs out, you can and will use it as evidence that he's being petty to revisit the formal custody arrangement. Judges will typically consider that. Best of luck and congrats on the wedding. Edited to add. When I say revisit the formal custody arrangement, I mean modifying it to allow for some flexibility. Like saying parents can request X amount of reasonable scheduled changes in a fixed time period that are dependent on the circumstances. You guys shouldn't have to formalize this type of stuff, but it might be necessary if parties can't stop being petty. A soft everyone sucks here. Well, you and your ex. It was unkind of him to block them going to your wedding, and you came up with a reasonable solution. However, I'm guessing your kids would prefer to celebrate Christmas with their dad than not celebrate it with you. So I think given that he has agreed now, I would swap with the explicit provision that they come for your wedding. I, 32 male, am a single father to an absolutely beautiful daughter, Mary, 14 female. Mary's mother died when she was 2, and except for the 4 years when her mother was alive, or we were living with my parents while I attended college, she has been raised solely by me. I've been cooking since I was 14, always at home, and for the people I care about. It is pretty fair to say that I am a pretty damn good at-home chef. It is also fair to say that my daughter blows my cooking skills out of the water. She has always taken a keen interest in cooking and has been helping me in the kitchen since she was 4. At 12, I've been giving her $50 a week to pick out her own ingredients at the store and cook dinner every Wednesday, and she has absolutely loved it. To give an idea of how skilled my daughter is, last week she made a 4-cheese risotto, twice baked potatoes, and sous vide a steak to a perfect medium rare and seared it perfectly. For dessert, it was a strawberry rhubarb crumble and homemade ice cream. Everything was completely from scratch. When she was young, she asked me why I learned to cook and why I always cook dinner. I told her that my philosophy around cooking is, you cook to make the people you love happy and healthy, and that I originally started to learn to cook to impress her mother on our first date. Since then, every time she tried new recipes on me, and I loved it, she would always joke, if you love it, Dad, then her crush at the time would love it and would be very happy. This semester at school, she decided to take a home cooking option in hopes she would learn new recipes and cooking skills. Today, the teacher asked everyone why they wanted to learn how to cook, and my daughter responded, to make my future husband and his kids happy and healthy. The teacher was shocked at that answer, and I was requested for a meeting with the principal and teacher after school hours. They chewed me out for my unhealthy parenting and grooming my daughter to be a housewife or some man in her future. I talked to a group of mothers that I go to for daughter advice, and they said I'm an a-hole for instilling such sexist ideals in my daughter and allowing her to think that is all her cooking is good for. I'm ready to accept any verdict. So, court of public opinion. Am I the a-hole? I never said it was to make her future husband happy, only that it was something to do for people that you care about, the way I did for her. Besides, she was too young the first time we discussed it to have any inkling of her own sexuality. And I used the example of me cooking for her late mother as something I was very proud of. Frankly, I'm very disturbed that you assumed that her mother was the one doing the cooking, simply because of her gender, especially because you know that she died when my daughter was 2. I'm also extremely disappointed that you would squelch my daughter's heartfelt statements because of your own perceived sexist notions. I can't imagine that she will ever feel comfortable sharing her true thoughts in that class again. I only hope that your negative response doesn't discourage her from an activity that she loves. Not the a-hole. This seems like a miscommunication. Your intentions were to teach your daughter a necessary life skill, not to teach her that she needs to cook to get a husband or to please him. Plus, you're a man, and you cook for your family, so she's seeing that at home already. Plus, there's nothing wrong with that being something that a girl aspires to. Not every girl has to want to be a career woman, and that's okay. Some women enjoy taking care of their families, and that's just as admirable as the women who enjoy reaching new career goals. Not the a-hole. Calm down to those who are voting you're the a-hole. He's not conditioning his daughter back to the 1950s. Hell, OP himself has been cooking since 14. He naturally has set himself as an example cooking for his family to be happy and healthy, a skill that his daughter wants to imitate. Not everything is sexist, nor backwards. She's clearly happy and eager. Parents and the principals should use that rage to curb pressing matters such as picking on people instead. I have one stepson, Jerry, 17 male, and 4 kids. Mark is from a previous relationship, and the younger 3, Jess, Rick, and Susan, are with my husband. So Jerry has 1 step-sibling, Mark, and 3 half-siblings, Jess, Rick, and Susan. Jerry's parents were never together, summer fling, and I met his dad when he was 8. His mom has been a very lovely co-parent, and there has been no alienation from her side. Despite that, Jerry has always been very resistant to our family. I suspect he was very possessive of his dad and viewed me as an intruder, whereas his mom got married when he was 2, so he was used to her being married. Trouble is, he never got around to changing his mind. He never accepted me or his siblings. This caused a lot of issues, as my kids would beg me to make Jerry hang out with them. I always refused. I told them you can't force feelings, and while we can do our best to invite Jerry, we can't force him to join us and be a part of our family. Rejection is a part of life. This was very hard for them to understand. It led to a lot of self-esteem issues for them. Jerry was very vocal in his disdain for our family. He always declared his friends his siblings and would rub it in the kids' faces. It verged on aggression. I told Jerry that family was important, but didn't force him to do anything. The kids got to a point where they stopped reaching out to him and just formed their own sibling group. The issue is, Jerry's chosen siblings have ditched him. I don't know why. I think they just grew apart. Now Jerry's on his own and has been reaching out to his siblings. They want nothing to do with him. Recently there was an event and the kids wanted to go, so I bought them tickets. When Jerry found out, he asked for a ticket and said he wanted to go too, but the kids said no. I asked them if they would reconsider, but they were firm. Jerry hurt them a lot and they're not open to him. I told Jerry that I couldn't force them to take him, the same way I didn't force Jerry to take his siblings. I want for them to get along, but I also don't want to go against their wishes. Now I'm getting hate for excluding him by Jerry and his grandparents. Am I the a-hole? What do I do? Edit. Husband doesn't know what to do either. Also, Jerry isn't excluded from the family. I always have and still always invite him to any family thing we do. He is simply choosing to attend now. The kids know that he will always be invited to family events. But this wasn't a family event. This was a hangout they wanted to do by themselves. Not the a-hole. You're not excluding him. You're giving your kids the same choices you gave Jerry, instead of trying to force a relationship. Not the a-hole. Normally I'm very much against excluding stepchildren, but you are basically doing now the same thing you were doing before. You didn't force Jerry to spend time with his siblings when he didn't want to, and now you are not forcing your other children to spend time with Jerry when they don't want to. This is Jerry learning the consequences of his actions. However, I think you should completely support them having any discussions that can maybe heal any past trauma, should your kids want to do that. Jerry reaped what he sowed. He didn't want to be a part of the family, so he doesn't get to change his mind once he's alone with no one else. Has he even attempted to apologize? Tell his grandparents that if Jerry hadn't been so nasty all his life, then maybe his siblings would actually want to talk to him. Not the a-hole, OP. You are doing everything right.